Hey guys, so I'm gonna try something entirely different this video. So I filmed a beautiful fall vlog, but instead of explaining to you what happens in this vlog, I'm going to actually tell you some stories from my life. Last year, I started going to therapy because I was experiencing a variety of symptoms, anxiety, depression. I discovered a lot of things. I've never had any friends that were good for me. A lot of my friends were relatively negative towards me. They would kind of put me down chronically. And I never had a lot of friends. I had like one friend in high school. After I had finished up college and I was in the very beginning stages of starting my business, I realized that I was kind of going crazy just staring at a screen all day and I needed to make some friends. So I started joining different church groups. So the first church group I joined consisted of people ages 19 to approximately 23. I'm telling my therapist every week about my life. So I start hanging out with this group and I go to several of these events. I interact with these people. I cannot relate to them at all. So my assumption was at this point, okay, there's just something wrong with me. Then I kind of keep trying and I join other church groups, and I join one where everybody is like age 25 to 34. And keep in mind, I'm like 21 at this point. And it worked. I was super happy with these people. I could talk to them. They appreciated what I had to say. And I went back to therapy and I told my therapist, I really didn't think it would be possible for me to be able to make friends with anyone, but it's working now, and I don't know why. She had an explanation for me, and that explanation was, Natalie, you're highly intelligent, you're a deep thinker, and you think about the future a lot, which is one of the main things. And that trait doesn't usually manifest in people, statistically speaking, till they're about age 25. And I was like, that makes so much sense, because all my life my friends have been like significantly older than me. I think the takeaway from that is you can spend your whole life trying to fit in, and you can spend your whole life in a group or in a job or in a family, and you can be miserable and you can feel like you can't relate. You may just need to find a different room and just keep trying rooms until one of them works. Because the thing is you might be different than other people. You may be highly creative. You may be highly intelligent. You may be very logical. You may have that kind of a high level of emotional intelligence. It might just be because you're in the wrong room, and that doesn't mean any of those people are bad people that you're with currently. It doesn't mean that any of them are wrong, but it just means that you kind of think a little bit differently than them, and there's nothing wrong with that. My relationship with my mom was never really good. It got worse and worse over the years. And I was telling my therapist about this, and I was like, she tells me things that have no basis in reality. I'm not going to give the example here on YouTube, but I gave my therapist the example, and she's like, yeah, that doesn't have any basis in reality. I assume my mom was just like trying to bother me, trying to get on my nerves, trying to annoy me. But my mom had an extraordinarily difficult childhood. I can't even fathom the things that she saw and had to go through. And what my therapist and I realized is that my mom has to create a state of chaos. She has to create an emergency. Like, oh, the dog's sick. The dog has a problem. We need to do whatever this is right away, right now. We cannot wait. And of course, like, that's not how most people interact with the world, and that's not how most people interact with their children. So that was always really difficult, and that creates a high level of stress. So like when I was younger, I would be like, oh, well, this is clearly a problem, because I would believe my mom and deal with whatever the problem was. But as I became older, I realized that a lot of those weren't real problems. She was just coming up with them. But the reason why she does this is so that she can remain in a state of chaos. Because the thing is her childhood was so incredibly difficult that she has to remain in that state of chaos constantly and chronically in order to be able to function, because she doesn't know how to function when things are calm and stable and there isn't an emergency. She doesn't know how to get things done. And when I realized that, it was an absolute, so here's the deal, I was annoyed for years, right? I was miserable. And when I realized that, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And it was a complete and utter game changer for me. I was finally able to be like, oh wait, that's what's happening. And when it would happen, I could really recognize that it was just a situation that was occurring, and it didn't have anything to do with me. And I was able to forgive my mom and to realize, look, your life was insanely difficult. And I realized I'm not gonna put myself in a situation where I'm going to become excessively annoyed because of her behavior, but also it gave me the ability to give her that little bit of grace to be like, I know why you're doing this. I understand how you got to this place, and I understand that it isn't a reflection on who I am or what I'm doing at all. And that was really liberating. I think those are the most important lessons I derived from therapy. I felt like sharing them today for some reason. I hope you got something out of this video today, because I want to create a dialogue where people can talk about this kind of thing, because I think having parents who had really traumatic childhoods and were abusive to you growing up, or not being able to fit in because you were extraordinary in a certain domain of your life, but that caused you to feel extraordinarily isolated from your peers. I think those are both common problems that I don't see a lot of people talking about, and I'd love to create a dialogue about those things. And if you've ever had any similar experiences, feel free to put them in the comments below. Anyway, have a great rest of your day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.